Oh, okay. Hello, guys. G'day. We're back for episode 29 of the Infrared podcast, and tonight we've got someone who's quite big in the music scene.
Oh, really?
Nik Thompson.
Wow. You guys feel like Joe Rogan now? 29 episodes in.
Yeah.
Sick of hearing your own voices?
Well, we're going to get to a few thousand, so before that happens.
Do you guys have conversational trends that you do? You know how he like only talks about DMT and like mushrooms now?
Well, we've had a bit of an inside joke where Alex always starts the podcast with... so what do you do?
Yeah,
how did you get into music?
How do you do it?
Every single person. So expect that.
But is there any personal anecdotes that you always keep coming out with? That one time I played at the Flying Scotsman and this lady requested a song. Not yet.
We haven't figured it out yet.
I'll check back in. I'll check back in on episode 500 and see what the trends are. Yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
when
we
you've run out of
about
things
the
to say.
Crew, though. We do have a thing where we always talk about doofs, but that's about the most.
Who doesn't always just talk about doofs?
I didn't actually know that much about doofs, to be honest. So
they're fun.
This might be the one conversation where we don't bring up doofs that much.
Oh yeah, you should definitely watch. It's not next podcast, but the podcast after, where we're going to be interviewing a few people who throw the raves in Perth. So that might interest
That's
you.
awesome. All power to them. Fucking
Yeah.
sick cunts.
Take it away, Alex. Do you want to start off with your trademark?
My trademark thing.
Yep.
So who are you? What do you do?
I'm Nik Thompson. I DJ under Nik Thompson and produce some like sad music under SNAT. I DJ a lot of kind of party gigs because my idea is like dance music party gigs. My kind of ethos is that for the Nik Thompson project is that I'm like a wide open dance person. Gates wide open. Anyone's welcome to kind of embrace dance culture, and I'll take you on a journey if you're willing.
So when
It's
you
all
say,
right, Nick. We might explain that me and Nick right now are kind of sick, so that's why you're getting the nice.
Oh yeah,
voice.
sorry.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we prior talked, is I got to take a step back. I don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you did party the whole weekend, so
I did. Yeah, I think that's mainly why I'm under the weather because doing like 5-6 hour sets and stuff it's pretty hard on the bod.
especially getting back into the whole thing, right?
Yeah, totally. I'm an old man at the moment. I was
Yeah.
exhausted. I did a couple of sets before the weekend just gone where everything could be open, where like people were seated down and I was finishing up at midnight, 1 a.m. kind of cruisy sets like that. And I was exhausted. It fucking sucked. And I was just like, who am I? This is like so lame.
I feel like every DJ goes through that period though. Like they're like, I haven't slept in 3 days and I have consumed more alcohol than my entire body weight.
One thing that I've noticed, right, is if you put a pedometer on you, kind of thing, and just like you count how many steps you do, like legit on Sunday night, Scarborough Beach Bar, I only did 8 o'clock to 11:30, but I did 21,000 steps.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like
just literally jumping up and down on the
it's
spot.
just tapping away.
Yeah.
It's just tapping
Yeah,
my foot.
my exercise ring gets closed like a couple of times over. The foot tapping's a weird one though because I feel that like if I'm in a foot tapping mood, by the end of the weekend I go really sore leg. Like
Yeah. That's the
crazy
exact
sore.
same thing. I just hurt my back because I'm always just like extend my leg and then just kind of not, standing up straight kind of thing.
bad posture.
Yeah, very bad posture.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
I get lectured by my friend's mum a lot of the time for having really bad posture. So I'm working on it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's a good
mum's
thing to
friend.
have.
Wait, my friend's mum actually.
Your friend's mum.
Yeah.
I was about to say that's a little weird. You hanging out with your mum's friend?
Hey, some of them are cool. Shout out to Donna. She's pretty cool.
There you go.
But yeah, apart from DJing and producing, I also work in digital advertising. At the moment, I'm working with with like Brandon and Joseph and Caitlin. I'm kind of the guy that does like a lot of the setup and I structure the campaigns, figure out the overall strategy that's going to go forward for each of our clients. Kind of working with Brandon on that one. Yeah.
What's the story about you finding like, because you told us when you were a lot younger you joined a band. So
Yeah.
tell us the evolution
Toured
from
Australia, which
14-year-old
sounds pretty
Nick.
cool.
I think it was 14-year-old Nick. Am I right?
Yeah. 13, 14-year-old me was super into indie rock music and stuff. And I was like singing and playing guitar and I had a bunch of songs written and I ended up recording my first EP and made a band from that to play the songs live because I thought playing in bands was be awesome. And
So wait, did you record the EP yourself and then get a band?
yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So it's cool. The recording process was terrible. I will tell you that if your 14-year-old son says, "Hey, can I record an EP with no proper planning beforehand?" Say no. Make him prepare because it was a nightmare recording. I remember
that's awesome,
the producer, bless his heart, was very patient with me, but yeah, that EP won't see the light of day anymore. But yeah, I made that record and started a band after that, and then went down the band cycle, playing heaps of local shows like Mojo's on a school night on a Tuesday or something like that.
No
driving
shit.
down from the hills, and slowly kind of got a little bit of somewhere. We got a demo that hit this kind of teen band competition thing, which the grand prize was that you got a record deal with Sony. And
Which of course you won, right?
so we won that.
That's That's pretty damn cool though. Like,
Yeah,
you
it
get
was-
signed on to Sony.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. And so then we made a record with them. Got like some pretty good airtime on Triple J. Toured around Australia a couple of times with some like good support slots.
Just like main cities, or was it? Did you ever go?
Oh, like main
inland?
cities, yeah, like only like 4 or 5 dates and stuff.
Yeah,
We
but
supported
still.
like Ginger Safari and what's the guys that do I'm on Top of the World and the Thunder song, Imagine Dragons, that kind of thing. So did that for a while, but I kind of just really discovered that I didn't like being in bands. I really loved working in music, but the whole record company, like making records as a band, having all those different moving pieces, touring as a band. I love touring by myself, but I just just like all those little bits and pieces.
It's a team thing, right? Because you all have to have that equal say. And
Well, that's what I was just about.
And I
to
also
say,
discovered
like,
I just didn't. I love indie rock, but I didn't like making it. Like sitting in the studio with a bunch of people and the sound engineer and shit was just not fun.
Yeah,
like
like
I loved
tedious
playing, like making demos in my room. That was wicked.
yeah.
But I just there was a certain point of time. It's like, all right, I've spent, at this point I'm like 18, 19, so I spent like a good proportion of my life at that time doing this. And I realized I was just doing it on autopilot. So I stepped away from that, and I started studying a degree in compositional theory at Whopper. And I was producing some tracks for different people, just getting in the studio, and they'd come to me for like a little bit of spice. And so like I did a little bit of that, still in the kind of indie world. During that time,
You're still producing now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm still producing now, like my own stuff.
It's not a frequent thing, is it for you? Or do you have like this huge backlog of unreleased tracks?
So for the SNAT project, that's really just for the love. So I've got a backlog of songs that I'll put out when I feel like, but I take my sweet time about it, and I don't really care about it.
You used to DJ under SNAT, right?
Yeah. When I was DJ, like if I was DJing weird electronica stuff, yeah, that's under SNAT.
Okay.
And I'd still do that occasionally.
And the Nik Thompson side of DJing is your more mainstream.
Yeah, so the Nicholas
stuff.
Thompson is the dancing house and disco vibes. Well, it's actually the audio visual house and disco vibes. So that's kind of like them.
So you have like two monikers, because I know there's a lot of DJs out there that have two monikers. But can you explain to anyone watching why a DJ might want two monikers?
It's predominantly a marketing communication thing. So people can only understand a couple of key messages that you ever communicate.
Yep.
So over time, you can of course slightly pivot those key messages. For instance, like now Diplo is now a cowboy.
Yeah.
100%.
But it takes a long time to pivot because people only understand a compressed version of you.
Yeah.
So when you want to communicate some fun ideas, it's easier to distill them into some easily swallowable pieces of communication.
Yep.
I'm like doing like, instead of doing like a Getter in a way, because like what happened with Getter? What was his alternative name? And he went and played a festival and got booed off.
God, I can't remember Getter's alternative.
Yeah, but he had that alternative monocle thing, and then with that, it's like people wanted to see dubstep. They went to the festival to hear dubstep. And then he goes and plays his like nice, chill, mellow, housey kind of stuff and gets booed off.
I guess that's just the fault of the punters. I mean, he's gone to the level of creating.
He took a long time to do that reshift and stuff. Those punters are just dickheads.
Exactly.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, because they go there and go, oh yeah, Getter.
I feel hell bad for Getter.
Yeah, poor dude. Honestly. But
a lot of love for Getter and the struggles he's went with for his kind of rebrand and shift. I feel for him. But yeah, so like distilling ideas into easily swallowable sections was just a good idea for any business, and also I wanted to put a significant amount of effort into the Nicholas Thompson rebrand, so it just made sense to have one where I'm just doing it for fun. When I get around to do it, it's cool, and then the other one is like when I'm actually using the techniques that I tell other people to do, when like other businesses to do, in other events and stuff like that. So yeah, those are the two monikers. And they didn't come until quite a lot later. When so I picked up a bar job just to make ends meet while I was studying. And
Was that at Whopper when you were studying?
yeah, when I was studying at Whopper. And I got really involved in it. I just like really loved working in like bars. Like I really love bars, and
the hospitality scene can just grab you sometimes.
yeah, it was awesome. And I drifted away from producing other people's indie rock. Just slowly stopped touching the computer, and I kind of started fading away from my degree as well. Until the point that I ended up getting kind of promoted through that bar, and I ended up going to like a nightclub, and then I ended up managing that nightclub at like 19.
Yep.
So
what bar and what club was that?
So the club I was running Metros by then.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Metro's Frio, right?
It's not just a small club; it's a pretty big club.
And that was awesome, and I kind of discovered that during that time, that's kind of when I started discovering, dance music culture. Even though it was a mainstream club, I still got the idea of like what clubs are about and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then during that time, kind of, in my breaks, I'd go out to raves and other more niche clubs and stuff, and learn from the experts. So I was doing that, and I loved being part of a venue. But I realized that managing clubs wasn't for me. Like I loved being part of that music culture.
Just like it's too much work.
You're just trying to find like your position in the music industry.
Yeah, exactly. I've spent all this time kind of floating around the music industry, just tasting little bits and pieces to figure out what was going on.
Marketing, managing, event.
And so then I started while I was managing, I started kind of meddling in event promotion, and like particularly I really like the idea of like creating these like fantastical brands, these one-off events where people can express themselves in certain distinct ways, and we can curate this experience for a limited amount of time. So I kind of moved into that from event managing, and did more the kind of curation of events and their branding.
What type of events did you run and stuff? Because I remember ages and ages ago, did you have something to do with BARP? Big ass house party? Is that right?
So that was obviously not the most tasteful of events.
Why wasn't it a tasteful event?
It was called Big Ass House Party.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It was awesome. It was a great party. Like I love just a good party as well. No shade on a good party. And so I was running BARP for a good few years. Really good. And did some other stuff. I did an alternative hip hop night, an alternative house night. Some like light disco-y nights. I did an experimental pop night.
What does experimental pop sound like?
Yeah,
like PC music,
right?
Stuff like that. It was directly inspired by PC music.
Okay.
Like doing a lot of Sophie, Hannah Diamond, Cutie, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't think I've heard of any of those artists, to be honest.
Oh, we'll have to do some after podcast research.
Yeah. It's like if you got pop music and then just went the core essences of it's just ridiculous, and it's fantastical, and it's silly and fun. It bombed, but but I love running it at the start. It was a very fun thing to brand.
So do you agree with the saying that if you play what you enjoy, everyone else will as well?
Yeah, entirely. Yeah.
Oh, you think that's true?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So maybe you just weren't having enough fun with your experimental pop music.
Well, I wasn't really playing at it. Oh, okay. I was just making the nights.
Okay.
I think I played at it for a little bit, but not for the main set or anything like that. Just for the just like at the end or something. It wasn't I was still floating around with that event promotion, and it felt like a good thing, but I wasn't definite on it yet. And then some of my DJ friends started showing me around on it, around the decks.
Yeah.
And I started like picking up a skill set. And I did a terrible thing that I would definitely not recommend anyone that's an event promoter do, but I started booking myself, which is a fucking dumb idea.
Why is it a bad idea if you're the promoter to book yourself?
It's good to have that second opinion on what's good and what's bad,
That's
especially
true,
when you're a new DJ. You normally suck, And if you're the person that's supposed to tell you that you suck, it's kind of problematic.
Yeah, no,
you know,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I remember giving myself some good sets and bombing them hard. Hey, I feel bad for the punters.
Well, it's like what I've said in other podcasts as well. It's like it's kind of like learning to drive a car. It's like, you know, when you get in a car and you turn the keys and you first start driving, you're not going to be good at driving the car. But
you might be the person who's overly confident. Yeah, you might be like, I'm fucking nailing this.
Yeah, I can go drifting,
and then in hindsight, it's not, you know, and because I was working as an event promoter and I had by then a decent amount of experience of knowing what was a good DJ set, what wasn't. I thought that I was well educated enough to judge myself, and I think a second opinion and a third opinion is always better to have.
Right.
Yeah. So, but slowly I pivoted playing other people's shows, and then I learned my way. My niche for a long time was I was playing rock music, which made me like get my skill set up fucking fast because
what type of rock music, like classics and stuff?
Mainly like indie music, you know. Yeah. I'm still an indie boy at the core of it.
Yeah.
So I played that for a long time, and then I wanted more sets, and so I played party sets. And during that whole while, I was in love with dance music culture, but I didn't want to fuck with it. Like I just could respect it too hard. I know it seems that like
enjoy it from a distance.
Well, I know that house music seems like it's the easiest one to mix, but it's truly the hardest one. Well, one of the hardest to do well. And that was something I didn't want to fuck with for a while. And then after a while, I just felt pretty confident in my skills. Like, you know, a couple of years in, been fucking crunching it. And
how long have you been DJing now for?
Like 4 years, maybe.
Is that it?
3 years, 4 years.
I thought.
Is that how long you've been DJing
years,
for?
8 years.
Yeah, no, I'm 25 now, so yeah.
Oh wow! I figured you'd been DJing for a lot longer.
Oh, thank you.
But also, just quickly, that's one of the things as well. It's like talking about genres. It's like, you know, there are good, really, really good drum and bass DJs out there, kind of thing. But like, it's not one of those things where it's hard to mix because, you know, it's similar genres and it's just easier, same BPM, that kind of thing. But it's just like you got to know your music, I would say.
Oh yeah, mixing's easy, man. Anyone can learn mixing in like half a day. Like,
yeah.
What would you say the biggest skill is for a DJ to have?
Knowledge of music.
Knowledge of music.
Yeah, totally.
So you're talking music theory or just like song selectability, like your song selection?
I guess it comes down to song selection. But understanding where songs live in a place and how they change depending on their context. You know.
See, I've always had this thing as well where it's like every song has a time and a place in a way.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. It's like, you know, a certain song might work on the beachfront, but it wouldn't work in a pub, kind of thing.
Yeah, even just in between music.
Yeah.
A song is very different accompanied by other songs. And
well, that's exactly it. The way you mix it in with like what's the beginning of it, what's the end of it, how the flow is, you know, what's going on. Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, and that's the main thing about dance music is, like, I would definitely understand when a lot of people wouldn't like dance music out of the club. You know, it's made for the club and it's made for the community experience. And so like I really do think that music is different, dependent on who you're around and the context. So the context of the music, the context of the room, the context of the people.
Yeah.
It's all meant to be enjoyed in a complete ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just one more quick thing before I just keep interrupting. 100%.
You're not interrupting. You're the host.
Okay. Well, yeah, all right. One thing I completely agree with that is that just exactly what you said, where it's like when you go to a venue, the three things you should look at is what does it look like, who's in there, and what's the music and the atmosphere like, kind of thing. Because if it's a rundown old place and they're playing dubstep in there, but then it's like, you know, there's just like everyone is just, you know, turbos and mullets and, you know, that kind of stuff. Is it inviting? Or is it kind of suiting that?
It's inviting for turbos and mullet heads.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But then the average punter would just be like,
Well, that's the thing. Like, what is the average punter?
Good question.
That's what every venue is trying to figure out, because if they work that out, then they'll be fine, right?
But see, I would say it's more of a Perth thing as well, to be honest, because Perth is so diverse. There's so many different things, so many places you can go for so much different.
It's
different
hard for me to
music.
compare really because I haven't spent a lot of time over east at the
Yeah.
clubs. I've been to Melbourne like once, and I think I've been to like 3 clubs there, and I can't remember the names. So,
But that's you have to.
I
have
think
the
Perth
experience
rep's
and,
pretty
like-
hard for its population, but I don't know. Plenty of places have diverse music scenes.
Yeah.
I think that finding the right patron for your venue is just like a normal thing for every single venue. You know, like what is the normal punter? I don't know.
Exactly.
No one knows what that is.
well, that's what music policies are for and all that kind of stuff because you want to target a specific punter.
Yeah, totally. And it's beyond music. It's just a music policy thing. You know, that it's how the security acts, how the staff act, how the management
Exactly.
acts. What are your opening hours? How's the venue set up? How's the product? Like the something that a lot of people don't discuss a lot is how important the lighting guy is.
Yeah, the sound
in
guy and
the,
everything. Yeah.
Thank you. I've been preaching
in
this
a,
for a
in
while.
a venue. Like, you know, you just using the same rig, a lighting guy can completely change what the energy of a venue is using the same lights.
Is your brother still doing the lights at
Maggie's? Yeah,
Yeah.
and he fucking killed it. Yeah, it was really good. He did a really great job.
Does he have control over those?
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well move into like talking about Maggie's
Mags.
house now.
Yeah.
So what is Maggie's? Because I mean, there was a thing on Channel 9 and there was on Channel 10. What is Magnet House? Because some people I've had heaps of people message me. It's like, is Capital Magnet House now? What's going on? Like,
Yeah. Well, it's the same building as what Capitol was. It's a huge renovation of the Capitol building called Magnet House, fondly known as Maggie's.
Yep.
Crazy fit out. It's something that you just kind of got to see to believe.
it's one of those Tron vibes, isn't it? Where it just looks like, circuits almost.
We'll have a little
everywhere kind of
video
thing.
we can play. If you
Oh,
want.
yeah. a little
By all
video,
means,
huh?
yeah.
You guys keep talking and I'll find this.
So
video.
there's 1.5 million pixel LEDs in the
shit.
venue. It's hectic. The entire roof is on controlled motors, and not just at 4 points. I think there's like over 100 controlled points. So the roof completely transforms. The light show is connected from the front door to the stage. All the walls, all the bars are all interconnected. The lighting fixtures, they've just got, some may say too many. I would say
not enough.
just right. Amount of lighting fixtures in there. It's really great. And the setup has been done really tastefully. It's not just like, a bunch of party shit.
It's not just slapped together. It's really thought out.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. And also they've also got an upstairs area, which is a retro party room.
I'm pretty jealous of the piano. I gotta admit.
It's a really great deck out there. I thought it was really tasteful.
Is that piano still there though?
Yep.
The
So the
yeah.
DJ deck is a baby grand piano.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
The roof is this kind of molded steel or aluminium or something like that. It's molded metal with LEDs on it so that it kind of lights different colors and stuff. It's super tasteful and really fun. And fortunately it still connects to amps. So like on a Saturday night you can go and rock out in the back room or go out into the courtyard or go bowling
So they
and
still
stuff.
have the doors open at midnight then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's still that really great diverse offering.
Yeah.
It was great. What are you
managed
showing
to
them?
sort it?
I don't know.
So where does the name Magnet House actually come from? Because didn't they...
That's the original building's name.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Yeah.
about to say. And was it because they made magnets?
Is there a promo video
something?
on the Magnet House?
I couldn't tell you, man. I'm not really sure.
I've lost the
I don't
video.
think I've really looked at the website myself.
But
I'm sure they
it's-
post on their Facebook or something like that.
So do you know much about the history of the actual building at all? Or?
Not really. As in, like, I don't know what the original industrial purpose of it was. I
'Cause
think it was electrics or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so, something like that. I mean, I just thought magnets. I just honestly thought they made magnets there.
Probably. They're probably self-explanatory back in the day, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
yeah. All right, here we go.
Nope. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
this shows a little bit of the venue, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Let's pop this up on the screen.
Oh, but yeah, I forgot on the pillars they have these pretty killer little LED screens, which are pretty specky.
They're the cube things, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they can all just change to whatever.
totally.
Like,
And now they've got these nice booths. I really love how they changed the bar. So now that bar's at the back. And they're offering cocktails and like a pretty good wine list.
Really? They have a wine list in there now as well.
Yeah. Look, it's simple because it would be a bit silly to have like.
There you go.
Nice to have
Marc Rebier, hey.
Thanks, Facebook, for that.
It's a simple offering, but it's good. Their drinks managers switched on. He makes some great fun club cocktails that aren't priced that bad.
And how loud does it get as well? Is it as loud as what it used to be last year and stuff, or is it quieter?
The speaker system is louder.
Oh, it's louder.
There's more subs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the sound system can go louder without being clear. I guess the thing though is that like loud is it's influenced by your perception and the difference. So yeah, it's thumping. But because there's not any like super aggressive sounds in it, it probably doesn't sound as loud. Like you're not getting absolutely destroyed with distortion in your ears anymore. So I would say the decibel level is probably higher.
Yeah.
And the bass is probably hitting you harder, but you're not going to come out with like as ringing ears, I'd imagine. Yeah.
How with the booths though? So then those booths are just in front of the stage. How did anyone sit in them on Saturday and stuff like that? Because I was just thinking like if you've got booths right in front of the stage, wouldn't you want it to be more of a dance floor? Because I noticed the booths upstairs. But
that's a huge dance floor before the booths.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's still the same size dance floor as from Capital.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Yeah.
I just mean like
they've just moved the bar back. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so that center bar that was segregating the rooms not there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that's all gone. So that's where they put the booths.
So there's so much more space. And there's the booths are up in that raised area. So no, there's not booths like on the dance floor or anything like that. There's actually heaps of room for a dance floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was just gonna say, because like, if it's quite loud, it's like you're sitting down having a drink. Then it's like, I mean, you're there in Magnet House.
The front booths are loud. The front booths are loud, but
it's part of the fun.
I criminally don't know the name of the person who designed the sound in the room, but the booths upstairs have artfully made, and so when you stand up and you go to the ledge, like you want to be part of the dance floor in the top level, it's cranking, and as soon as you go to the booths, it's like conversational level.
Really?
It's really
that's what you want.
Exactly.
It's well done.
That's 100% what you want.
Yeah.
And then wouldn't they be a bit, because it's fake leather, isn't it? Faux leather or whatever, or is it like plastic on the boots?
Are we talking about my pants on Saturday night?
Oh,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the booths are made of. I haven't sat on them. Yeah.
I'm just thinking it's like graffiti. And
I've been all business.
Sits down with
so far.
I think
metal jeans or something.
The biggest question on people's mind is the music policy and the direction of the music and how it's going to change. So maybe you could give us an overview of that.
Yeah.
Cool. What do punters expect when they come to Magnet House?
Well, it's a dance club, but it's a dance club for kind of everyone. It's a lot more commercial. It's a lot more mainstream. But my mentality, like I said, is I'm someone that wants to welcome people and introduce them to dance culture.
That's what nightclubs really should be. They should be like a mix of music you've heard before to keep the party going. But, back in the day, people used to go to nightclubs to hear music they'd never heard before.
Yeah.
For me, I personally prefer nightclubs where I have no idea what the fuck is going on the whole time as a patron. But I know that a lot of people don't like that, and I don't want to push them away from it. So for me personally, I would like to introduce them with some friendly elements, and then try and take them on a little bit of a journey from that. But I don't think every club should be like that. Definitely not. This is a super club in Western Australia. So it definitely makes sense to be like that. So like if we're talking genres wise, instead of just an ethos, it's predominantly house and new disco. But it has a lot of hip hop beats introduced into it sometimes, and it also kind of goes off into some high BPMs just for like special moments in the middle of the night.
Would you say that house and new disco is kind of like the new trend coming into Perth in a way?
Totally. And that's why it's fortunate for me to have a good place in Maggie's at the moment. It fits very snugly into what I'm doing. Maybe if the house and disco trend moves on, which I'm sure it will, because
it's all
house
phases,
never
sense.
dies, but it does, wane and
It's a revolving door.
Yeah, it does go around.
It just goes through different phases.
Hey,
and everything.
maybe it won't work for me at that point of time, but right now we're in a great spot here.
Right now, you're killing it.
Yeah, man. Like, it's great. People like, like Fisher and stuff have really opened the doors back into house music. I personally not a huge fan of Fisher, but
Well, he didn't even make his music. He just paid. Was it Chris
well,
Slade?
look, I don't care who made the music, really.
Yeah.
I love the Fisher brand and I love the Fisher thing as like from a respect standpoint. It's not personally for me, but big respect to introducing so many people to dance music culture. And if I have to deal with 100 losing it bros, but 2 people that are like, want to kind of delve in a little bit further, I'm totally happy with that.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Are we calling them losing it bros now?
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like a staple of what you have to play out sometimes.
Well, it is a bit old now.
It is, yeah.
Losing it. Fisher
Well,
losing
it's the same thing I was talking to my mate about this with Sunflower. That Sunflower song by Post Malone.
Yeah.
It's just
Great
like
song.
Yeah, it's a good song, but back in the day, it's like every weekend I'd have to play it out and about.
Yeah.
Beachfront, it's kind of like a staple. I have to play it in the beachfront. Girls request it. But now it's kind of like it's on its way out. Now it's Blinding Lights. But it's like, eventually Blinding Lights will fade out. And something else
They
will
all
come
have
in.
their own benefits though,
That's it.
like the good thing about Sunflower is that it mashes up in a heaps of great 90 BPM songs. So like good for that one, and it's just pleasant. Blinding Lights, hey, if you want to give them a little bit of taster of drum and bass, you're in the right BPM range. You get a little sneaky little tidbit.
Yeah.
So like, hey, like all these songs, they have their moments and their opportunity.
Exactly, in their place.
Like even the good thing about
Same.
Losing It is once you play Losing It, you can probably delve into house for a couple of songs.
Exactly, yeah.
Well,
To
that's the
to
good
people
thing
that don't
for
even like it.
Losing it goes with everything, I swear.
It
Oh, it's
does,
great. Yeah. There's like a million mashups. It's
Yeah, there is.
perfect.
Exactly, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's also one of those things where it's just so simple, but it just works kind of thing. It's just put together so, not loosely, but it's just so basic, but it works.
Totally. With some of the good songs don't have to be complicated.
That's exactly it, yeah. And that's the same thing with everything sometimes. It's just that, sometimes simple is better to an extent.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the when I go back to like when music's in certain contexts, the simple is often a lot better because you need room to introduce your own ideas and your own thoughts and your own experiences during it. I think that's a lot of the reason why techno and like disco and like kind of original house is very simple. Oh, sorry, disco is not simple. Club disco. I think it's mostly simple because you need to be able to you want room to introduce your own thoughts and your own context and your own time, because that's where you find most enjoyment. Outside of dance music culture, outside of dance music, even people like John Cage, talked a lot about how music is only is really only the context in which it's played. Like if we're thinking about the the time,
John Cage, that's right.
like the time where he just sits in a room in quiet for a couple of minutes, and the music is all the people and how they're experiencing this strange experience of sitting in a room expecting something, and what a magical moment that is. Everyone expecting the greatest composer in the world to come out with some awesome music, and it's just nothingness. Like, how fun is that? That's awesome. But if you told anyone like, oh yeah, so I just paid $30 to go sit in a room in dead silence, you'd be like, it's idiotic.
Yeah.
And the same thing when you go like, oh, I don't know, maybe I show my mum a techno song in the car and she's like, this is pretty fucking boring, isn't it? I was like,
Yeah.
imagine.
It's just like you're in the
You gotta
right
use that
place.
imagination,
Yeah.
Close your eyes, imagine you're in the right place.
Yeah.
In your happy place.
Take some cat. Yeah.
But that's also one of those things where it's like people mention words like, when someone says Ibiza or Ibiza, they instantly think it's like, sunset, beachy, kind of like
Tropical, yeah.
that, that funky island.
It's
kind of
not,
thing.
it's full of techno.
Yeah. But that's what I mean though as well. It's like you kind of think like if you know a little bit about the music scene, you kind of expect that it's all going to be that. But we don't know. We've never been there.
Well, I think that for 80% of punters, it is expectation. They're
Yeah.
coming with an expectation.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of venues nowadays have sort of been hamstrung into that sort of lane.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like, I guess venues, instead of focusing on wanting to create their own environment, they're focused on creating an environment for other people, like to get people in the door, rather than just focusing on what they want their venue to be like.
Well, I can agree with that.
Without the influence of the punters, I guess. But like at the end of the day, it is a business as well, so I do understand like needing to make money and keep the doors open and stuff like that. But I think, I don't know, this is my own personal thing. I don't own a club, never managed a place or anything like that, so I'm completely unqualified to comment on this. But I think it should be more of a balancing act between what they want and what the punters want.
Well, from someone's opinion that has managed a venue,
Yeah,
all venues are owned and made with different intentions.
yeah.
Generally, if you're like you understand the nature of the place that you're building and the location of where you're building it, and the community around it. So sometimes you might be building a venue because you find getting a really rewarding and a really profitable business is something that's rewarding for you, and that's your passion. And sometimes you want to build a venue where it's a home for something that you care really passionately about.
Yeah.
So there's not a one size fits all mentality behind what kind of like patrons we want to encourage and that kind of idea. You know, I don't think that the person that was that started Connie's came at it with the same intention of the people that started the Lookout.
It was the same
So
thing
we can't really generalize what everyone's expectations of how they see their punters. Not every venue is just trying to go for every single punt. Actually, I don't think any venue is going for every single punter.
Well, yeah, you can't do that.
There's no way.
You wouldn't please everyone.
Generally, the venues that do go down that route of trying to please every single person, they normally fail pretty quickly.
Yep.
Do you think that would apply to bars and pubs in a way? Because I mean, for a nightclub,
yeah, they're all the same thing. Yeah. It's just hospitality venues are all, they're all. It's a similar thing. Like, why go buy a beer out of someone else's fridge in a place where you have to get an Uber to, when you could just do it at home? Oh, it's because it's the context in which you drink it in. Like it's a whole experience. And
Exactly,
it's the same thing with the clubs. Like you might be, you maybe in clubs the focus is the music a little bit more than the drinks, but really what it is you're talking about, you want to put yourself somewhere in an experience in a place. And so like hospitality venues, while they all have their different flavors, they're still offering we're offering experiences for people, and just some places are offering different experiences. It's not it's not all just about like the music. It's a whole ecosystem of experience.
Well, exactly though. It's like what we were saying before. It's like, you walk past the venue. Oh, that place looks cool. Oh, but there's people in there. I don't like those people. It depends on just the whole atmosphere, the whole entire scene of what it is, kind of thing. Do you find that sometimes, like, I might not word this right, but the whole sheepish idea to an extent, where it's like, all my friends are going there, so I want to go there, kind of thing. Yeah. Where it's like, sometimes it's like some places I really feel it just like they kind of are successful because everyone just knows it's the cool place to hang out, kind of thing. But it's not, I'm not saying that with Capital Corp or anything. I'm saying that with other places. I'm saying it where it's like,
it's with with all places. Human nature is to follow recommendations.
Yeah.
So like this is a good segue into our like digital advertising and stuff. But people want to do the things that they're told to do. Yeah. Right. And if you might not even need to expressly say, hey, do this thing, but if they see 20 other people doing it, they're probably going to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
did you ever see, there was a video once, I can't remember where it was or whatever it was, but it was like, it was at a pharmacy, and it was like the whole pharmacy was flat out, kind of thing, and everyone's just sitting down waiting to go in. No, not a pharmacy, sorry, a doctor's appointment, kind of thing, right? And this guy would just stand up. Every 5 minutes he'd just stand up, and eventually, someone else would stand up. And then eventually everyone else is kind of just standing up. It's like, they're standing up. 5 minutes on the dot, I guess I'll stand up as well. And it's kind of like get into that
suggestion, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, they're doing it, I'll do it too.
If they think that something's right or they should be doing it, then people are going to be doing it. And there's probably not much more persuasive of a thing in our world than a whole lot of people doing one thing. If a whole lot of people are doing one thing, then it's probably right. Yeah. So that like it's really no one business's like full intention of like, oh, I just get a bunch of people and then more people come in. That's just human nature. Like, you know, it's like, of course it's going to happen. So when I was saying about the segue to digital ads is that like, even if you just tell them to do something, they're more likely to do it. So, for instance, we created an ad, which was a slideshow of just this product that our client makes. And it just showed 4 different installations of this thing that they make, and some good copy, and there's a button, it says get quote, and that's the ad, right? Yep. And then we have the exact same thing, exact same copy, except in the slideshow it has those 4 or 5 different types of installation, and the last picture says click get quote. That one performs over 3 times as well as the one that doesn't.
Right.
All you're saying is, hey, this is the next action that you should be taking.
That's it, yeah, step by step kind of thing.
Yeah. You can even see that in like with like YouTubers and stuff when they remind you to like and subscribe. They're not just doing it because like they think, oh, everyone does that. You will like and you'll far more likely like and subscribe once you tell them.
Would you say that's a form of subliminal advertising to an extent? Because it's not saying do it, it's not saying hey do this now, but it's just like, oh,
how is that subliminal?
Subliminal.
They're literally saying hey do it. They're like sorry, it's not subliminal if they're saying hey like and subscribe.
Sorry,
that's fucking straight up, man.
Yeah, sorry, you used the wrong word.
I think the word you were looking for was subversive.
Yeah. Not that one.
Yeah, they're straight up. Well,
it's my bad. But yeah. Sorry, let's get back on topic. So with the marketing then, so how did you fall into that? I mean, like you started doing it through uni and you went through Whopper and everything like that, and then
well, so with the whole event promotion thing, and the event branding, I was doing a lot of marketing with that, and that's kind of when I discovered that I kind of had a bit of a love for it. I just really loved creating these whole strategies and creating the funnel by which, you know, you could kind of first engage people, build that relationship, and then finally convert them into a ticket seller and then re-engage them for further, you know, and raise their lifetime value.
Yep.
I really love that experience. And yeah, I kind of realized that was like kind of a path that I wanted to pursue as well. I don't think that I'm ever not going to be working in the music industry, but I just wanted to do this as well.
Like just a side project kind of thing in a way, like just make it work.
Yeah. Hey, look, there's 24 hours in a day, so you know you can DJ at night and do marketing in the morning. That's
exactly it,
you know,
right?
and just have enough money for something to keep you awake. So.
Oh, the human struggle.
Yeah. So, I also decided because I dropped out of Whopper, and I was like, and I didn't tell you guys before, but I also dropped out of high school to go to Whopper early. So I was like, you know what? I'm in my early 20s. I won that piece of paper. I feel like it would be nice to finish a form of education. So because I was already getting interested in marketing, I started a marketing degree, which I'm finishing
So
soon.
you never finished Whopper?
No. I did about so I did a Cert 4 and then I did about 2 years of my bachelor's.
Right.
And then I finished that.
How did you find Whopper though? Because we've had
a similar story to me, like a bunch of like half qualifications basically.
Yeah. And it feels frustrating, you know. So that's why I was like, no, I want to finish something.
I'm the same as well. I'm in my last year of uni as well.
I finished in a couple of months.
So for me, it's like I dropped out of business degree and I dropped out of electrical engineering. And it's just
you graduate at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Exciting. We're all uni dropouts. There you go.
That's it. But you'll get the bit of paper though.
Yeah, and hey, it's pretty useless. It's a fucking shit degree. Like marketing degree is a waste of time.
Yeah, they always say it's business.
But I was doing it. I'm doing it for the piece of paper. I just want something to achieve.
Yep.
But so through that I was doing a lot of marketing. And then I started doing consulting for different firms. And just like doing little bits and pieces and helping design nights.
Is Where You your first like official jump into a fully fledged marketing position?
That I'm not a sole trader for.
Right.
So like I was definitely doing.
You're an employee.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you were doing contracting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you've like never worked in an official capacity for any other business or anything. This is your like Where You is your like your debut into actually like a business.
No, like like say, like especially when I was doing like the chatbot stuff, which I haven't really talked about, like that was just doing that.
Yeah.
Companies.
Did you do the chat box for EMAS by any chance?
Yeah.
You would have.
Yeah.
Because we had a few. I remember we had a few parties where there was like a chatbot on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, chatbots used to kill it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we used to get so many ticket sales from chatbots, but Facebook nerfed them now. That's why I don't really do them as much anymore.
It's weird how that works, huh?
So what is a chat box? And then we'll go into how they nerfed them and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. So essentially, I work in Facebook Messenger chatbots. So just creating like automated responses and automated engagement ways. You can.
That's one of those things where you click on the page and it'll just instantly open the messenger and say like, "Hi," you know.
No, that's just a native thing on Facebook.
Okay.
You can just set that up within the settings. I guess you could call that a form of chatbot for sure. The chatbots are like
Yours are a bit more involved, right?
Once you send some content, it will send something relevant back for you, and it's fully interactive.
Yeah.
So graciously, Facebook let their Messenger API be open, and so a bunch of companies jumped on board with that to make some to allow you to build conversational experiences with people via the Facebook Messenger platform.
Yeah.
And you can do a bunch with it.
Can you give us an example just for the people that don't know how it works?
Yeah, for sure.
Use the EMAS one as an example, I think.
No, because that was a demo one. That's a shit example.
Okay.
But like, so for example, I've set up chatbots before where people would message the page being like, "Hey, I would like to make a booking. I'd like to book a table," and then it would go, "Okay, great. We have this many tables available." And that would, and it would ask them their details. They get their details. It would confirm the booking. It would be all good. Day before the booking, it would message them, be like, "Hey, just a reminder, you've got your thing there," and then it would also save all their information and it would save it into Facebook advertising. And so then you can build a lookalike audience, or you can build a retargeting audience based on their the opt-ins. Because if you opt into any messenger conversation, so even if someone doesn't have a chatbot open, right? But say if you message a page, then they can open up your profile and see like all the public information that you've displayed. Yep. Now, that would be very tiresome to be able to, like every single time someone inboxes you go on their profile, write all their shit down into a spreadsheet. So you can also use a chatbot to automate data collection, right? Public data collection based on their intent. So then if you once you do those kind of like straightforward back and forth of like, "Oh, hey, I'd like to make a booking," all that kind of shit, this starts being like, "Oh, why didn't I start putting some like natural language processing into it," right? So like if someone says, "Hey, I'd like to make a booking," by like pressing a button, why don't you, instead of just pressing a button saying "start booking now," instead you actually make it so it picks up, "Hey, I'd like to make a booking." Well, then maybe there's other meaningful pieces of conversation that you could probably save for later. So for instance, maybe they say that their birthday's coming up in conversation.
Yep.
So then they've told you that. So then you would want that logged, and then that way, like if you know their birthday, you can retarget them with advertisement before their birthday to make a rebooking. And once you've got couple of thousand of these conversations happening, you have a meaningful amount of data that you can start using to find other people with.
Yep.
Do you guys have much to do with like when you started, like, because you researched that, right, and then you kind of just learn it, and then you did a few examples like demos, like you said with the EMAS and stuff like that. Did you ever like have to look into the Privacy Act or anything like that? Because if you gather other people's details and stuff, I mean, obviously they're not going to tell your home address or anything, but they might give you phone numbers, emails, names. Is there anything that they have to kind of sign as a waiver? Or?
Yeah. So generally, there's a certain level of information where they need to opt in, and they need to be aware that it's of what they're getting into.
Yeah.
The public Facebook information is
public.
Is public.
It's free game,
and it's pretty much covered. And if they're expressly saying stuff, but you would normally give them a privacy policy or something like that.
They have to accept it or something like that.
Yeah, and just let them know that it's like, you could say it's automated, like check the privacy policy, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, but so Facebook. The great thing about chatbots though before was that once someone started a conversation, you could talk to them again, right? So if you've had a meaningful conversation and you've flagged them as like a good customer, not just someone that wants their lost property or some shit like that, then the next time you have an event that's similar to that, you could DM them it. And the open rates were amazing. So like a good open rate for an email campaign is like 5% or something like that, right? And it was like consistently well into the 90% rates every message you said.
Yep.
So
makes sense though.
It does.
Yes.
Everybody wants to see that blue dot.
So we would have this. You'd have this fantastic strategy of essentially like you'd offer some sort of free incentive to get people into your messenger mailing list, and then contact them forever about other shit that you want to do. But eventually spammers kind of caught on to that and started harassing people. So then Facebook nerfed it so that you could only contact people with like news or updates or blog posts, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But there's a strategy around that, which is you do a blog post. Once they engage with it, then you can do advertising to them, right? Right. Facebook eventually nerfed that because people are abusing it. And so now you can't do outward messages.
Yeah, like at all. They've completely stopped it, right?
Yeah. So the main benefits of Facebook Messenger bots as it stands now is for data collection and for lead forms and for customer service. So like it's great for someone like, you know, if it's a venue, they can DM them at 1 a.m. and get the answers they need right now. Exactly, you know, or they can make a booking right now when no human could be able to do that. Another thing is, you know, like I was saying about how if they have meaningful conversations, then you can flag them and get people that are similar to them. And as for lead forms, so sometimes like, you know, you'd send someone to a website, they put in your details, and then the customer, the client would call them back, I don't know, about selling some shit. In this, a lot of people don't really want to put their details into a form, but they would love for someone to be like, hey, what's your mobile phone number? And then you respond. Yeah. So they want that conversational element. So it works for a lot of people like that.
Yeah. It's I have a Google Pixel, and that has the Google Assistant, and that Google Assistant can actually make phone calls for you and book appointments. And
yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Siri's super retarded. I'm sorry, Siri's like terrible. Doesn't perform well at all.
It's okay.
There you go. Siri's straight on it.
It's okay, she says.
Yeah, it's okay. Siri's retarded. Is it all good if I have no glass?
I'm offering it.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, might as well ask. By the way, tonight's episode is sponsored by House of Cards and Margaret River.
It's not sponsored, but if you would like to give me free wine, then it can be sponsored.
Sponsored by Nick and his.
Tell them the deal they have. If you buy
them,
4 cases a year,
they can give me free wine first before I from my House of Cards.
No free promo.
I just spent like $200 at their winery. Like, I'm not gonna.
You have to admit the view though is so nice, right? When you just go out and sit out there.
And they're great intentions.
And the chocolate factory across the road as well.
While we're on a tangent, why don't I read off some comments?
Okay.
So
we've got comments?
We've got a few comments, yes. Prale says, expose all of Brandon's secrets.
Can you?
Yes.
Give us a secret.
What's the dirt?
Ooh.
He sleeps with a teddy bear.
That's too obvious. Obviously he does.
In his black room. I gotta admit, that's pretty cool. I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, it's. I wonder what it does for his like ability to switch off.
That would be the best thing, honestly. For me, just like lights off, darkness.
Wait, he painted his room black.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, that's the coolest shit ever. You go
that's
in there.
That's one way to make your room feel very small.
Okay, here's my secret about Brandon.
Oh, here we go.
Wait, let me put your lower third up so everyone knows it's you.
This is an infrared exclusive.
He's actually pretty normal.
Shit.
Damn, that's the most boring news I've ever heard.
Yeah.
All right, next comment is from Brendan.
From Brendan.
Here we
go.
Here we go.
He simply says URL parameters are for nerds.
Oh yeah.
And Lewis Abrams says Magnet House looks off its lid.
Yeah, it is lit. Yeah, Brandon's like a pretty like run and gun kind of guy with ads. And look, I definitely come in pretty hot as well. Definitely a lot more hot than most boring fucking agencies with light blue backgrounds.
But it's not a bad thing.
But
it's a good thing
but,
to an extent. Yeah.
But he is like, fuck the URL parameters, fuck the reports. And I'm like, okay, I think our clients want some reports, and we should probably put the URL parameters so that the analytics comes out right. Yeah. we have a good working relationship like that. Yeah.
So how is everything you've learned with marketing? How is that benefiting your DJing? I mean, it sounds pretty like straightforward, like how it would benefit, but obviously you would have all the insight about.
It's helpful because it kind of comes full circle, and helps me to understand the people that like I appreciate, and like how I even got to know them, and kind of how I understand my idols. It's like sometimes you like think about some of your favorite DJs and you go, I don't even fucking know one of the songs they make, you know, even though I really like them.
Yeah.
You know, like, man, I really like Carl Cox.
But you couldn't name one of his songs?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, like the Nine Toes remix, obviously. But otherwise, like...
It's the same thing with
saying that, I can't name any fucking songs ever. But
it's like with almost
I'm
all
super
of those
bad.
big artists. Like even Martin Garrix, other than Animals, what else is there really?
Oh, to be honest,
Tiesto.
all of my music on my record box I recognize from the album artwork, and that's it. I don't remember the
I'm
name or the
similar as
artist.
well. Like it's just names and artwork to an extent, and colors.
But it's a whole mood that they're expressing, you know. And what's great about that is like with good marketing, you can actually communicate what the mood is you're trying to do.
Yep.
Because you're not gonna like, you can't communicate to someone what your DJ sets are like, you know, elevator. Like I can't ask you what your DJ sets are like and you answer in a meaningful way that I actually understand what your DJ sets are like. Like I couldn't do that for you. Like even though I, you know, kind of summed it up.
Yeah.
What the fuck does gate wide open house and disco mean? What, like, come on, Nick. Like, what does that mean?
I was going to ask you about
you know,
that. Like,
what could it possibly mean? You know, but with some strong marketing concepts, you can distill the idea of, you know, the essence of what it is, and what does it matter if I play some garage or like some, you know, some hip hop beats now? Like you understand like the general vibe of what I'm going for, right? Yeah. You don't need to get into the nitty gritty of genres or fucking about. And so like you can't even properly express what a DJ does if you listen to a 2-hour mix of theirs. It's still completely out of context.
Yeah.
Well, it's just quickly.
That's a great thing about DJ mixes. They're always out of context.
It's just like what me and Mitch have been talking about the past podcast, where it's like I've come to the realization that I'm actually a pop DJ. I don't want to be a pop DJ, but I play popular music because that's the most predominant gigs I play are pubs and bars. Yeah. So with that, it's like 100%. If I could play the music I actually want to play, people probably wouldn't like it, but it'd be, you know, 90s hip hop and techno, like Berlin German techno and that kind of stuff. But it doesn't suit the crowd.
Wait, so you want to be a 90s hip hop and also Berlin techno DJ?
Just play, you know, what I kind of like in a way.
I would love to hear mashups of that. That's interesting.
So would I actually.
So is it like how are you doing the transition? So is it like 90s hip hop that's like bumped up to 130 BPM?
Well,
because that sounds wild.
Or are you doing like mid tempo techno, like French house or something?
I didn't.
Or are you just talking shit?
No. So what I mean, though,
he just likes those two genres.
That's exactly what I meant. It's just like if I was to do, you know, like at the Soon rave, right?
Yeah.
Well, we went and did that. Did you see the car park rave? We did it at all. So with the car park rave, with that, it's like that. The first mix I did, I barely ever get to play that music out and about. But that's predominantly French and German techno.
Well, to be fair, I wasn't that straightforward with the music policy for that.
Yeah, well, you played Austin Powers' theme song, House Remix. As soon as everyone hears the do 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 do.
I like house music that has like sing-alongs into like mashups and stuff like that people can sing along to, but still is like house format.
I remember when we threw a rave on the Swan River near the power station, and I turned around and you were playing Seven Nation Army.
Yeah. I remember Georgia actually coming up to me once when I was playing like a house remix of like a Don Diablo song or something, and like usually it's like big room, like stuff like that, but obviously this was like a more mellow mix, but like the whole start of the song was essentially the same, and I could just see the look in Georgia's face when she looked at me. She's like, oh no, this is not going to go very well. And then it was fine because it wasn't the original song.
But just to reiterate, right?
Tangent.
Tangent. Here's a little tangent for you guys. I reckon I could mix techno in with hip hop, 90s hip hop.
Please do it.
No, it would be a bit of a mess around, but surely there'd just be some breakdown you could just delay out or something
do it
like
then.
that.
Make a mix.
Okay.
You've shot yourself in the foot here. You have to do
I
it.
really think Notorious B.I.G. Right?
Everyone that's listening, we get to ruthlessly bully Alex if he doesn't release this collab mix in the next 2 weeks.
In the next 2 weeks.
Right? What's the date in
But
2 weeks?
How long does the mix have to be?
The date in 2
30
weeks.
minutes? An hour?
It has to be long enough to be tasteful.
Will be the 14th
shit. It's going to be
Alright.
a tasteful mix.
Okay.
of July.
Can't just like merge it in, just make it work. Like, now that we're talking about that, like music policy, and not music policy, but like, you know, what our music taste is compared to kind of what punters are in a way, to an extent. It's like with the music policy in Perth, I know we were talking about how like disco and
Well, maybe we
housey-
should explain exactly what a music policy is, because I think a lot of people don't quite understand
that's
how
what I
DJs
mean.
operate in a club.
Because there are so many places out there where it's like you have to play this kind of stuff. I went and played at Universal Bar once, and they literally just told me nothing but 2000s plus rock and roll, and it can't be Blink-182 or Sum 41 or Red Hot Chili Peppers or anything like that. But then the whack thing is I played a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, Danny California, right? Just to see what would happen. And then when I let the band get back on, because they were doing half an hour slots,
Yeah.
right? Half an hour DJ, half an hour band, half an hour DJ, that kind of thing. I played Danny California, and 3 girls come up to me, oh, can you play more shit like that? And it's like, the music policy tells me I'm not allowed to, so I'm sorry, girls. I
But
gotta
you did
play
it anyway, right?
No, I played that one song to see what would happen.
But maybe the venue knows like a little bit more than you about maybe they've got a long history with those acts, and maybe maybe the owner doesn't like it, or maybe they've found that when they play those kinds of things long term, the vibe gets sent off or something like that. Sometimes like the punters aren't the ultimate, the
'Cause see, that's where I
ultimate
wanted to-
chooser. Like I feel pretty like passionate that you should try and respect the music policy as much as you can, because like a lot of thought goes into it. Certainly, like, as a DJ, you should discuss with them, and if you think that it's retarded, sorry for saying that. If you think
That's all right.
if you think it's poor, that if it's a poor choice, then you should you should communicate with them. But if you're on the night and you're just like, oh, this promoter doesn't know what he's talking about, the music policy, play the music policy. Because the promoter's probably done that night for like years, and he or she knows what's in and out about their music policy, and like there might be something a little bit more to it. You could probably go to any club and fucking rock it by playing some like Jay-Z and Kanye West, but what it does for the long-term experience and respect for the night, may not be optimal. There's a classic issue of DJs, 1 hour DJs that'll just like smash out the hottest tracks at 10 p.m. And their set might have gone off. It might have been off the fucking chain. But long term it's not. Long term it actually is
not
it's
sustainable
poor for the brand's night. And on the flip side, sometimes the DJ might be playing stuff and the dance floor is just like, yeah, we're okay with this. We're doing all right. We're just floating, but we're not super hyped. But that's great because what they're doing is reinvigorating what the night's about. I don't think just like, fuck the music policy for
It's a
for-
tough
for the people.
It is
conversation because everybody has different opinion on it. I think.
Hey man, there's a lot of music. There's a lot of music in the world, and so pretty much no matter what the music policy is, you can adapt it to what's like appreciable.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be a really 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 bad music policy for it to be impossible. Like you can normally adapt stuff. There's remixes of everything.
And that's why it's important for DJs nowadays to have a bit of everything.
Just
Because I think a lot of, especially bedroom DJs, fall into the habit of just downloading one genre.
Just rhythm.
just rhythm or
Just
or
drum
just
bass.
heavy music and no light music or
remixes,
like
drum
if there's the
bass,
promoters
right?
like if the promoter of a party night's booked a rhythm DJ, it's their own fault. No shade on rhythm. It's just like it's not for me. But like, no shade on heavy music. But if a DJ is booked and doesn't is that unprepared, it's kind of the promoter's fault as well.
Yeah.
Like, come on, why are you booking these people?
I remember my first set, I was shit scared because I only had like 200 songs.
You shouldn't have taken that set. You should be
Just
more
quickly
prepared.
before we segue on to something else, but what I want to say to that is I agree with what you're saying, but then I also disagree to an extent. The only reason why I disagree is just because it's like I kind of feel that sometimes it's like it does come down to reading the crowd and being able to play appropriately. Like if they say, you know, it's house music night, then obviously play house music. But then it's like if you can look out and see the crowd that are looking the crowd want specific, you're not cheesy, but not top 40, but you know, they want songs they can recognize and sing along and dance to and get into that vibe, then like, wouldn't that be beneficial in a way? Because like an example would be, say,
was your name on the flyer? Like, were you the headliner? Was it your show?
No. I'm saying like,
but in this theoretical world, right?
Yeah.
If your name's, if it's the Nicholas Thompson show, then yeah, like the venue music policy can get far. I'm selling the tickets, you know. I'll respect the venue to a degree.
I'm just saying,
but
pub or bar atmosphere as well.
Well, then all those people are coming for the venue, and it's not. I don't think it's your place to. I think it's your place to work within the venue's thing because they're coming for the name. They're coming
for the venue.
Yeah. For instance, they're not coming for the show. You know,
would they be coming for the vibe and the atmosphere?
I think,
totally. But that's within, you know. This is a collaborative affair. Like I was saying with the context, it's not just all about the music. You know, it's even about you know, what happened the previous week and what's happening the next week. You know, we got to work in an ecosystem, and the DJ's not the be all and end all of experience.
Especially for those kinds of events, because you're being paid from the venue to put on their show, essentially.
Generally, the idea is that you're paying for the DJ's knowledge of how to work within your parameters.
Yeah.
So I would say that unless it's your show, you should play within the venue's parameters. And if you can't do that, then you're not right for the gig.
Yeah.
But then quickly though, right? Then when it comes down to venue managers trying to call the shots, for an example, say like there was a venue that play in Scarborough all the time, right? And the guy literally 3 weeks in a row, can you play Moroccan French house? And he thought it works. He's a French guy, and he's just straight up like, well, I come from France and I know that this works over there. But he's trying to call the shots, to which me and my mates prove them different. Like the DJs that get booked for that venue, we actually can continuously, you know, play not what we normally play, but he wants house. So we just kind of move it not towards Moroccan French house, but we move it towards mainstream sing-along classic old school house. You know, throw in things like 2008 Infinity.
Well, I think a good venue, when they set their music policy, they're going to allow enough room for the DJ to be able to, you know, play this and be like, the crowd's not really feeling that, so maybe I'll move to this other end of the music policy and play that instead.
Can someone invite me to a Moroccan French house night? That sounds fucking awesome.
I know, that's the thing. When he told us, was like...
But yeah, look, there's definitely an issue in venues where there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Like a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Right. And I think that you need to... the DJ's job is to find out which cooks are the ones you're supposed to listen to.
Exactly, yeah.
Certainly, as the clubs get bigger, there's more cooks, and so sometimes you have to go and nod and not take them on board, especially when it conflicts with someone that trumps their call. And then sometimes that if that venue manager is the person that decides the music policy, it's too bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully I've got some Moroccan French house. Otherwise, I'm really sorry, man. I've only got French house. I hope that'll do. And probably I'll find another DJ for you next time. Big love for trying to go niche. Good on you. You know?
Then, talking about niche though, would you say sometimes it's good just to like cut the wood and then just start again kind of thing? Because it's like, so an example is like, you know, the idea of say like my uncle's pub, where it's like...
Well, I mean, Magna House kind of did that as well.
Well, that's what I was going to relay back to an extent. Okay. It's like going back, you know, from heavy music and now going towards the new style, the new genre, the new push, the new idea. And it's like the worry behind of it's like, it's working now. But it's like with my uncle's pub, we got an event manager in, and instead of just saying we're going to fix the cracks and we're going to make it better, it's just going, okay, new slate, something new, something brand new. Hopefully it works. 2 years later, my uncle's pub gets sold.
Sometimes, look, it applies in different situations, and it's sometimes you do need to do a fresh slate. I'd say, especially if you're like doing a relaunch or like if you're doing a whole new venue, then probably does make sense. But yeah, like sometimes it needs cleaning up as well. It's really not something that like I could like comment on as being you should always try and fix the problem, or you should always try and wipe it away. Definitely one thing to keep in mind though is that consistency, especially in clubs that don't have headliners, is like the ultimate importance. It's like kind of the equivalent of a Big Mac. It's not the best burger, but you know what you're getting, and that's why
it's always been that.
That's why everyone like the Big Mac is like the most eaten fucking burger around. Is because it's
familiar.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not amazing, but it doesn't matter because it's pretty good, and you're gonna get it every time.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's pretty much gonna be the same every time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know how that communicates is if a club's gonna have a certain flavor, it needs to do it and it needs to do it every week. So I'm really not a fan of like swapping lineups every week and stuff for resident nights. Like obviously if it's like a venue that does headliners, then that's completely fucking different.
Like Metro City or something.
Yeah, totally. But if it's like, you know, if it's an event, you know, there's kind of branded events that have like a certain flavor, it needs to have that certain flavor every single time, so that like people understand what they're coming in for and into.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask as well is that with Magnet House, now that they're going for this new vibe, this new atmosphere and stuff like that, I was talking to a mate about this a while ago, but it's one of those things, I think I was actually talking to you about it, Mitch, where it's like Cannibal Corpse came to Amplify last year, I'm pretty sure. Now, Cannibal Corpse is like death metal, screamo, beyond like full-on metal kind of stuff.
Yep.
But the heavy end of heavy metal.
Yeah, that's it. Like there's a song called Grandma's Cremation kind of thing. But then with that, how would that merge with the new crew that's trying to be brought in to Magnet House, and then midnight those doors open, and then you've got like
two worlds converging.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to get at is like, because you know how those kind of acts usually kind of play during the week, but then it's like sometimes you'll have bands on Friday night and Saturday night at Amplifier. And then...
Well, I think the amplifier thing is probably irrelevant. The doors are closed, you know, that's all it is.
But I just mean like the kids that stick around after and then the doors open, they want to go have a boogie in the new, you know, the new Capitol, the new Magnet House.
Are the store doors still playing to open up? Yeah, he said that
earlier, on Saturdays.
They open up like later in the night. Yeah. So they have their own identities for most of the night, and then they kind of, when everyone's kind of like a little bit more want to ramble along, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, look, if we're saying the particularly metal example, metalheads are the best fucking people around, right? Like they're the best crowd. So they're probably not going to kick up a fuss, to be honest. They're going to be like, yeah, it's probably not for me. I'm going to go. Hey, some venues are concert venues. You know, some venues are concert venues and some are not. And that people aren't that dumb. They understand that, like, hey, this is I don't know, like people go to Metro's Frio's club nights is completely different to the concerts they have, because the concerts are very different. Like there's lots of different types of concerts, and people know, oh, hey, if I don't think anyone that bought a ticket to Magic Mike, the strip show, is bummed when they turn up to the rock show after, on a different day. No one's going to Metro's and be like, oh, I thought that every night was a strip night at Metro's, someone that buys a ticket to the rock band, and then 4 hours later it's in club night and it's playing club music. No one's going to be like, I thought this was
the Capitol I guess
I thought it was a rock
what would you
music.
call that? The Capitol complex, like Amplifier, Maggie's house, and the upstairs room at Maggie's.
Yeah.
You would just call that
it's a great offering. Yeah.
It's good. Like, I like that door open because for me at least, and I know for a lot of other people, you kind of get over the music after a while.
Yeah, you want a little bit of break.
You can change, you can go to that indie rock, side, and then you get bored of that and you come back.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing. It keeps people there all night.
Yeah, totally.
Because of that.
Lots of difference
offerings.
and experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the bands thing, I just don't think it's like, look, hey, if it was a venue that never did bands, and then just like one night they did bands, it'd probably be a bit of an issue, because like everyone would be like, what the fuck
is a band thing.
What the fuck is going on? But it's been a concert venue and a club venue for like decades, and it's gonna be for ages. People know,
But
you know, they're not surprised by it. Like no one when they do the changeover is like, I cannot believe it's turning into a club, because it's always turned into a club. Like no one's pissed about that. Not even the bands, you know.
It's expected at this point. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it'll be weird if it was a one-off.
Be an
it might be a bit of point of tension briefly if it was a one-off, but it's not a one-off. And it's a great fucking concert venue. Like it's great how they've renovated it. Has great sightlines now.
do you think they would start pushing away from heavy acts like that though, just to try and make it? Because like,
I have no idea. I would imagine not, but it's not my
not
area
your
of
place,
expertise. I'm not a booker.
yeah. No, because I see what you mean. Like,
And the bookers are fucking sick cunts at that venue, so they're really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would have some educated comments on it, but that's not. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna have to try and get one of the bookers on.
So we're in our last 5 minutes, Alex.
We're in our last 5
Yes.
minutes already. Holy shit! I thought we got 15 minutes left.
Oh well, not on my timer thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck,
I should
all
fight it out.
right. Yeah, that's it.
Meet in the middle, 7.5. Yeah.
All right. Should we plug stuff?
Yep.
Yeah. That's why you said the 5 minutes thing, right?
Well, that's why I give you the warning.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you just keep rambling on. We all know that.
Oh yeah. Do
Yeah.
you want to plug anything? Like anything?
Yeah, for
promote
sure.
Anything?
So the Nicholas Thompson project is releasing its originals for the first time very soon.
No, we didn't cover production, did we?
Well, it's a thing.
That's
Mind
podcast
you,
number 2.
mind you, to be honest, everyone fucking like makes music, so it's all right.
Yeah, I do a bit.
We'll get you back on sometime in like a year down the track if we're still doing this, and
Yeah.
we can do an update on
Yeah.
on Maggie's house and production, all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's hey, if you want some dumb bootlegs, they're up on SoundCloud for free download for a little while from just search up Nicholas Thompson on SoundCloud. They're going to go down as soon as I start releasing original music, which is in the next couple of weeks. I'm just waiting for the artwork to be finished and for my schedule to start rolling out.
Pretty jelly that you get to play those tracks. You're going to play those tracks at Capitol, right? Well, at Maggie's, right? Main stage, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
test
because I
them out
paid a
with
bunch
subs.
of money to get them mastered. I want to see if it sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I spent
that's
ages.
it.
Yeah.
Just feel the floor rumble.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
Nicholas Thompson project.
Yeah, they're just good, fun dance songs that have a bit more of a flavor. So they're definitely not like tech house songs.
Are
or
they
anything like that.
originals?
Yeah, fully
Yes.
originals. So there are some remixes and bootlegs on my SoundCloud right now, but they're about to disappear. So if you want to get that free download, cop it, boy.
By the way, I've already linked your SNAT, your Nicholas Thompson, and your SoundCloud
Sweet,
in the
thanks.
video description. So
How come they're going to disappear quickly? Just the storage space kind of thing? Like, are you paying for Pro?
Alright,
Nah.
I just wanted to just give a little bit more attention to them. Yeah, to
Yeah.
the originals. And classic urgency demand. Yeah, the originals are heavily influenced by my background in indie rock music. So they're not super quantized. They're kind of fucking weird. The harmony's directly influenced by my theoretical composition, 3/4 of a theoretical composition degree. So they're kind of strange. Probably won't get rinsed too much, Maggie's, but the drops will. Yeah, coming out in a couple of weeks. So make sure you follow the SoundCloud and follow my Facebook page to get notified about that. For the next couple of weeks, I'm playing Friday and Saturday night at Maggie's, like 12 to 5 a.m.
No shit.
For the next couple of weeks.
is Maggie's going to be opening up at 12 every night?
No, it
Or
opens
was
at
that
9.
It opens at 9.
Yeah. So the Mr. Zach Parker and Miss Gigi Lauren are opening for me on various nights. So yeah, fucking killer. It'll be great. For the first couple of weeks while we intro Maggie's. And then eventually I'll just do the Saturdays because fucking 2 nights a week at the same venue is a bit much.
Trust me, you'll feel so wrecked. If you go and play on Sunday, you'll feel stuffed.
Oh yeah, I'm playing the Sunday. Oh yeah, this Sunday I'll be at the Lookout as well.
Well, there you go.
My
You'll be
hometown.
absolutely wrecked.
Oh no, it's all good now. I'm back into my schedule.
Trust me.
Yeah,
Just
guys
quickly,
should come down. Sunday's a bit lighter. It's a beach vibe, and then Saturdays at Maggie's are a bit more of a club vibe, but kind of the same thing still.
Just quickly, when Lucy's Love, I was the exact same as you. I was just like, yeah, it'll be fine. Playing until 5 a.m., start at 6 o'clock and play until 5 a.m. It'll be fine Friday and Saturday nights. Because I had a gig, like I'd go and play Long Chim 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock, then go to Market Grounds from 12 to 1, and then after that go to Lucy's from 1 till 5 or 4-5, right? I reckon by the end of it, when you hit Sunday, Monday, you just be like, I don't want to talk to anyone, don't want to do anything, just bunker up. Because
I've been working in clubs since like
Yeah.
for the past 6 years, and
That's
it's been
true.
the same shifts. To
Yeah.
be honest, managing is way harder. Like DJs
Yeah.
are cruisy, man. I
I can imagine that.
I- because I'm working.
Shout out
with
to all the
DJs.
managers out there.
Yeah, totally, man. Like I like as a DJ, because now I like live and breathe it. You know, bitch and be like, oh, the hours is so hard. It's so much better. It's like the best fucking job. And even when I'm you know, because I do plenty of like party sets to just make money and make rent and stuff. And during the time, I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks because this person's such an asshole. Like, you know, all these people are abusing me and stuff. At the end of it, I'm like, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
this
It's
is so.
like
This
that
is
though, right?
it's still so much better. You know?
Because like there's always going to be that one or two dickheads in the crowd, but then it's like example Scarborough Beach Bar, Peach Pit Sunday. When I finished there, even though I had to put up with like I think 3 absolute wankers that night who kept requesting just shitty rock music, fucking Jimmy Barnes. And it's just like, what the fuck, right?
Dude,
But the thing is,
work behind the bar, or like work as a glassy, and like requests just mean nothing. You know,
Yeah.
like I remember like, you know, scraping shit out of toilets and stuff. Like,
yeah,
shout out to the glassies of the world.
That's
they're,
exactly
they're awesome.
it.
So yeah, DJs when they're getting a little bit shitty about their rider not turning up on time, or they're
yeah.
someone requesting a song. I don't know. We'll bitch real about it for a little bit, but really like
Well, that's
It's good
it.
to hear a
That's-
different perspective on it, I think, because a lot of DJs have come on and sort of been like, got to stop drinking, got to stop smoking, got to stop staying up late
Yeah,
and stuff.
me right
It's
here.
like it's self-inflicted at the end of the day.
Well,
what
for the
I'll-
first couple of weeks of coronavirus, like before we had a lot of restrictions lifted, the DJ, like most venues wouldn't let DJs drink while they're doing it because we were kind of like on top, you know, looking after everyone. We're part of staff and whatnot. And you could definitely tell the people that worked in hospitality before they DJ'd or not, because they were whinging a lot more about like, come on, man.
Yeah, just little things.
A
Well, that's
couple of drinks while you're playing is not a big deal.
No.
Yeah. But that's what I was going to say, though. It's like, even though I put up with those 3 dickheads, I walked off into the storm with my bag, and I just still had a smile on my face. I had a good night. 3 little dickheads shouldn't ruin your night or cause any sort of fuss. It's the similar thing with bars.
We
to
should
an
have just
extent.
called the security over if they were really being...
Well, that's it.
Pests.
Like, but they weren't that bad. Like, it's just one of those things.
It's just the shit you have to deal with as a DJ, I think.
yeah.
You're
But-
always going to get requests, unless you're like up on like a nightclub stage and like
Yeah, it's
But-
great.
Ages
Maggie's
away.
is really far away. I only got one request. It was awesome.
one request. Someone managed to get a request.
Yeah.
How do they do it?
Yeah,
Scream
what,
it at you,
what
or
request was it?
I can't remember.
Only one request and you can't remember?
Yeah.
obviously not that memorable of a song
Yeah.
request?
Must be a
No, it
bad
probably
song.
wasn't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like requests because of my ego, but I don't hate them. Like, I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks I'm shit. Fuck them.
I reckon we'll just do the last shout before we call it.
Yep.
Shout out to the glassies and the bartenders, everyone. Like, I mean, I
Yep.
started out as a glassy, and cleaning up other people's puke is not fun.
No.
Fishing for glasses out of a toilet
Yep.
is not fun.
Shout out
No.
to shit cups.
Yeah.
Shit cups are not a good
shit
time.
Cups. Yeah. Oh fuck, shit cups.
And also shout out to not shout out. Fucking please, when you go to the toilet in a nightclub, look down first to see if there's a cup in the toilet, and take it out before you do a shit. Or just just don't choose that toilet, please.
Or
Please.
tell a staff member.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Go
do
to the
that
bar
after.
and say
Like,
there is a drink in the toilet before everybody in the nightclub shits on it.
stop shitting in cups in the toilet. It sucks. It sucks to get out.
Poor glassies. Poor bloody glassies.
You gotta get 2 bin bags and you put it over your hand. You gotta reach in,
fuck.
pull out this shit
Oh,
cup.
yeah.
It's not a good time.
It's making me squirm.
Sorry for everyone who's eating at the moment.
Yeah. All right. So this is episode 29 of the Infrared podcast, and we are signing off. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mitch, for doing your yeeting thing like usual.
Yeet.
And thank you, me, for being me.
All right.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Who have we got next week?
We've got the Pachamama crew
Ooh.
and DJ So Tired.
And who is the Patchy Mama crew and DJ So Tired again?
They're a collective of women who make safe spaces for women who want to party.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a really
Raves
cool
and
thing.
doofs and stuff like that with safe environments for women and things like that. So
Yeah,
that'll
pretty
be on next
excited.
week.
Pretty excited to get
And we
involved.
also have a secret episode that's going to air on Friday, but no word on that just
secret
yet.
It's
episode.
not very secret now.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I told everyone.
That's all I can say.
Mitch, there you go. Spill the
I
beans.
probably said too much.
Oh, you have said too much.
All right.
All right, we're signing off, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.